Yo, what is up guys? It's yours truly, Delboy here. Hope you guys are doing well. Now, a lot of time has passed since Guillermo Rigondeaux's devastating loss to Vasily Lomachenko. That took place in December 2017. But the truth of the matter is, Guillermo Rigondeaux has never truly rebounded from that defeat. He's only fought once since then, and it was basically against a low-level journeyman at the start of the year. I mean, you can't really call the guy Rigondeaux fought a journeyman, because journeymen, they know how to survive, and the guy Rigondeaux fought was basically a knockout for hire, and he was there to make Rigondeaux look half decent, and he got the knockout as expected. But it wasn't really enough to inject any life into Rigondeaux's career. You know, people are not talking about him. People just don't care right now. And that's due to the way he quit against Vasily Lomachenko. He talked that talk. He really got people interested. He really got his fans believing in him. But, you know, basically he laid an egg and rolled over. And after that, you know, his fans, they dropped him like a ton of bricks. And they act like the guy never really existed, you know? A lot of people out there at a certain time had a lot of faith in Rigondeaux. Plenty of people back then were picking Rigondeaux to beat Lomachenko, and obviously to go out the way he did left a lot of people extremely salty. Now, to me, I wasn't mad at Rigondeaux because he lost that fight, but I was mad at him because he talked that talk, he talked himself into that fight, and he quit. That's why I was mad. I never expected him to win. I felt it was a bad style matchup. I never really got why people were obsessed with that fight. But, you know, he got people interested enough for it to happen, and he laid an egg. It is what it is. But, you know, he's trying to rebuild his career now. Do you think it's possible for Guillermo Rigondeaux to rebuild his career and win back the respect of some boxing fans? I want to ask you guys that question. Now, to me, I will forgive somebody for quitting. I will give them another chance, and I will give Rigondeaux another chance. Now, I was never the biggest Rigondeaux fan. Yes, the guy at times was hard done by, but at the same time, he never really made it easy on himself. He made terrible career decisions. He signed with a dead-end promoter. He could have stayed a lot more active than he was. I mean, he fought Amagasa in Japan, and after that fight, I believe he had a further 2 fights on a TV deal out there that he could have taken up. And although these fights, you know, they may not have been the highest level, but he would have stayed active. You know, an active fighter at least is still in the public eye. But Rigondeaux, he didn't even want to do that. Did guys duck him? Yes, they did. But, you know, he fell into the victim mentality way too easily, and he expected the boxing world to hand everything to him, and his fans even bought into that as well. Another example is the World Boxing Super Series at bantamweight. Now, for the longest, by Rigondeaux fans, we were told that Rigondeaux was a small super bantamweight, but the World Boxing Super Series actually offered Rigondeaux a place in the bantamweight tournament. What did Rigondeaux say? Oh, I can't safely make bantamweight, I'm too big, I just can't make the weight. I mean, if this guy is really a small super bantamweight, the Bantamweight World Boxing Super Series is a great opportunity, especially given where Rigondeaux was in his career at that time. So let's not make out like Rigondeaux hasn't had opportunities. Let's not make out like he hasn't hindered his own career, because he has. Let's not make out like he wasn't given any TV dates to shine in favourable matchups. To say Rigondeaux was blackballed, to say Rigondeaux had the boxing world against him, was wrong. In reality, he had more opportunities than a lot of fighters. So the whole Rigondeaux was a victim thing, I'll be honest, it still winds me up to this day. However, that's all in the past, right? Let bygones be bygones, let's move on with the future. Let's see what lies ahead. Now, Rigondeaux, believe it or not, actually has a fight scheduled on the 23rd of June, and he will be fighting on the Jamel Charlo versus Jorge Cota undercard. Guillermo Rigondeaux will be back down to super bantamweight and he will be fighting Julio Ceja. Julio Ceja is a Mexican fighter. He is 32 and 3. He's been around for quite some time. He is a former WBC interim super bantamweight champion, and his best wins are over the likes of Hugo Ruiz and a past his best Anselmo Moreno. They are his best wins. Ceja has never been an elite super bantamweight, but he's a guy who's operated at a decent level. Like I said, he's been an interim WBC champion. He's fought a few good guys here and there. He's fairly experienced, and he does come to give it a go. He's got good power, he's aggressive. He's not a complete scrub, and, you know, he does come in there with ambition. And basically, it's Rigondeaux's first live fight in about 18 months. And bear in mind, Rigondeaux is 38 years old. He's been inactive, like I said, and he could get old at any moment. So I do believe this fight will tell us a lot about Rigondeaux and what he has left and to what standard he can operate at going forwards. Also, this fight with Julio Ceja is a WBC super bantamweight eliminator. So the winner of this fight will then go on to be #1 contender for Rey Vargas. Rey Vargas is the 33-0 WBC super bantamweight champion. He's a fairly decent fighter. He's tall, he's awkward, he's rangy, and I actually think he would be a good opponent for Guillermo Rigondeaux after this fight with Julio Ceja, should he beat Julio Ceja, of course. But, you know, there's a 2-fight plan here for Rigondeaux, a WBC eliminator, and then a shot at Rey Vargas. Rigondeaux, you know, he needs to act quick. He needs to get this fight with Ceja out of the way. He needs to get the win. Ideally, he needs to look good doing it, and then hopefully he should get that WBC title shot before the end of the year. If Rigondeaux can be WBC super bantamweight champion by the end of the year, he's then in a position to start the road to redemption. That would be a really good start. Becoming a champion again is the first step, and after that, hopefully we see him push for unifications in the super bantamweight division, and hopefully we see him have a good end to his career and giving us the fights we want as boxing fans. And listen, if he can't get the fights he wants at super bantamweight, you know, he could always move up to featherweight, for example, and try to fight a guy like Gary Russell Jr. He's talked about that in the past. If Rigondeaux were to go up in weight to featherweight and fight Gary Russell Jr. and somehow win, I mean, I would give him mad props. I would give him props for taking that fight. So the routes are out there for him. It's whether Rigondeaux is proactive enough to take them. It's whether he's willing to put himself out there. It's whether he's willing to, you know, really be willing to make amends for his past errors and career mistakes. It's on Rigondeaux at this point. There's no more victim mentality. That's got him nowhere. It's time to push on and really make a go of it in the last stage of his career. Like I said earlier in the video, I've never been the biggest Rigondeaux fan, but I am prepared to give him another chance. You know, I'm a boxing fan ultimately, and if he gives me fights I care about, I'll be happy. But he doesn't have long left, and he really needs to get a move on. Do you believe Guillermo Rigondeaux can redeem himself? Share your thoughts below. I mean, I have my doubts. I have my doubts about his attitude. You know, a leopard doesn't change its spots, so they say. But you never know. Stranger things happen at sea. But I am prepared to give Rigondeaux one more chance to try and get it right. Like I said, ultimately, I'm a boxing fan, and if he gives me fights I care about, that's all that really matters. But yeah, like I said, share your thoughts below. I'm interested to hear your opinions on the future of Guillermo Rigondeaux. Have you totally lost interest, or are you prepared to give this guy one more chance? Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I wanted to get this one out there. I know he's not the most popular guy in boxing, But I felt this was an interesting discussion, and I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts. Peace.